Hello everyone and welcome back to Matcha Talks with Tam, episode 5. Get ready to be cozy, snuggle up, grab yourself a beverage to watch this episode of Matcha Talks because we're going to get hella deep on today's topic. I have known the feeling all too well of having that bravery to walk away from a situation or from a person that doesn't serve me and isn't good for me or has even hurt and pained me, and then had to face all of the uncomfortable feelings of grief and feeling weak and frustrated with yourself and shameful about yourself for wanting to go back to something you know isn't good for you or missing somebody that never treated you right. It can really make your self-esteem take a hit. It can make you doubt whether you can even trust yourself at your own decision making. It's so very complicated, and I felt like we need to talk about it because we are not about to stay in a place where we feel guilty and confused and ashamed about ourselves, okay? According to the vibrational scale of energy, we are not about that life. We are always trying to feel our best. So in today's video, I want to talk a little bit about why do we even feel this way about people. I want to provide some reassurance first and foremost, so we don't go around feeling like we're stupid or we're weak or we are addicted to things that pain us, because it's so far from the truth. And going through this situation time and time again has taught me that. And then after that, I'm going to be talking a little bit about the solutions that I've learned on my own personal journey that can help you get to the other side in fully being able to move on from things you don't want in your life so that instead you can build a better life for yourself. And right at the end, I'm actually also going to be sharing some affirmations for you guys on this topic because I just think this is a deep one, and what can definitely help us choosing the right inner dialogue to say to ourselves when we're getting through such difficult, painful situations. Guys, I made my matcha today with coconut water. I'm absolutely obsessed. It's basically the same process of making a nice matcha, but instead of using milk, use coconut water. Phenomenal. And of course, I'm using my Genki powder at always. Number 1 matcha, my absolute favorite. Oh, and you guys can also try Genki powder to make your own drinks at home using my code JENKITAM10 to get money off your order. Before we jump right into the video, I want to give a thank you to BetterHelp, who is the paid partner of today's video, a service that I've been using for quite a few months now and I think is super useful when we're talking about all of these deep topics on Matcha Talks. If you didn't know, BetterHelp is an online therapy service that can help you take your self-care to the next level so easily and from the comfort of your own home. And I think this is important now more than ever because now that a new year has just begun, it can tend to bring up a lot of uncomfortable feelings that no one ever talks about. Like feeling overwhelmed that you have to make dramatic and immediate change in your life, comparing yourself to others, and especially when you're in your 20s, feeling like you need to have it all together immediately. But this is exactly where talking to a therapist on BetterHelp can not only soothe these uncomfortable feelings, but also guide you to build a better mindset for 2025. You can have your therapy sessions on a phone call, a video chat, or text messaging. On my therapy sessions, I personally like to use a video chat to just make it feel as personal as possible and also properly get to know my therapist. To get started, it's super easy. You just go to the BetterHelp site, fill out a questionnaire which will assess your specific needs, and then you'll get matched to a therapist that matches exactly what you're looking for in 48 hours in most cases. And if the therapist you're first matched with doesn't quite feel like the right fit, which is totally normal in therapy, then you can actually switch to a different therapist at no extra cost. I actually loved my first therapist, the person that BetterHelp matched me with. We just instantly got on. And after a few sessions, I realized I wanted to move to a different type of therapy. And my therapist that I had actually guided me to tell me what type of therapy I should progress onto. So it was super helpful. So if you're ready to commit to your self-care and level up into the best version of yourself, then consider online therapy with BetterHelp. Go to betterhelp.com/tamkaur and you can get 10% off your first month of therapy with BetterHelp. Okay, let's begin. I have to start off by saying missing the people or situations that hurt you does not make you weak, it makes you human. When you love someone or you have poured time and effort and energy and your thoughts to them, you have spent time with them, getting to know them, caring about them, learning about how to make them feel understood and how to be there for them, there's no off switch to that. As Miss Carrie Bradshaw said, when you love someone and you break up, where does the love go? It's okay to grieve the loss of something that wasn't good for you, because at the end of the day, love and caring about other people is not brought about as a result of their actions. It was never about what they can do for you, because at the end of the day, that's not even genuinely loving or caring about someone. It was always about you, the love you hold, the kindness and compassion you have towards others, the potential you see in them, the hope you have for them and you two together in whatever relationship and bond you might have. So when they hurt you and when they walk away from you or betray you, the love can't go away, because it was never about them being 100% perfect in the first place. Whether someone does something good or bad to you is irrelevant, because if you are somebody who is full of love and care and energy that you are always sharing and being generous with others, that's always going to stay. So then why do you expect that just because they did something wrong, now there's this off button to the way that you approach life and people and emotions and love? It's literally impossible. You can teach yourself to safely move away from it and not let it consume you anymore. You can start to train yourself to see them for who they really are, because you never knew that in the beginning. And now it's going to be a process of rewiring your brain and your perception of them to catch up to the action that just happened, which led to the breakdown in leaving that environment or leaving that person. On the other hand, missing something that's bad for you could literally just be a case of your brain's wiring. It could be a psychological cause. It's not always down to you. It's not about you not being strong enough. Our brain gets terrified whenever it goes into situations that are uncertain, when you don't know what's about to happen, when you can't really predict a place that you're going or a new phase of your life you're leveling up into. That is terrifying. And of course, you're going to feel uncertain about it. You're going to feel worried about it. And so the safest thing for your brain to do is to cling onto what you used to know, regardless of if it was in your best interest or not. So like I said, take your time with it, because who the hell ever set this standard that you have to get over somebody overnight, that it has to be this immediate change, that you have to not only cut somebody off, but forget about them and erase them from your life as if they never happened. You are allowed to take your time with it. That can be weeks, it can be months, it can even be years. Please take it at your own pace, because everybody grieves differently, everybody moves on differently. I also want to remind you, okay, that if you're still worried and frustrated and even shameful about the fact that you want someone back or something back that, isn't good for you in your best interest, or, you must just be addicted to pain and you're dumb and you can't even trust yourself about making the right decisions for yourself. No. Maybe it's just the fact that you are a victim of your own circumstances. The process of learning what your standards are and what your personal, because this is very personal, desired treatment is from life, from other people, is a very long process. And that very long process has to consist of a lot of unlearning and a lot of questioning. Because especially when we're younger, and especially when we've never been through this process before, the people we choose and the places we go and the decisions we make always tie back to what we have been conditioned to accept and think is okay because of what we are familiar with in our environment, which majority of the time does come from our home life, especially from our family members in family life, what we've seen at school with our peers. To be able to get to a better place in your life, you quite literally have to question everything you have ever known to be able to let go of it if that didn't serve you, because you don't get to choose the family you're born into. You don't get to decide what kind of environment you had to grow up in. And so if that consisted of toxic friendships or family members that didn't know what unconditional love was, or achievement-based validation only, you're going to start seeking out those things in your adult life, even though you probably already know they're not good for you, because that's all you've ever known. How could you literally expect anything else from yourself? Your brain is wired, and this is an absolute fact, to chase the experiences and the people that feel familiar, because familiarity to your brain equals safety, and your brain's number one responsibility is to keep you safe, not happy. And this was a huge lesson for me, because when I felt so addicted to a relationship that was so manipulative and emotionally abusive, and yet I felt comfortable in it, and I weirdly felt loved in it, and I wanted to go back to it, it was so reassuring to know your brain wants to go back to situations that are comfortable, even if they are full of pain and hurt. And when you finally build the strength and the courage to be able to walk away from something that wasn't good for you, and you then have to cut that tie to that emotional security and comfort that that bad thing gave to you, of course, it's going to trigger so much grief and sadness, because now you're pushed into that world of uncertainty and fear away from what you've always known and felt comfortable with because it was predictable. I also recently learned of this psychological term because of a different situation recently, but I feel like it really ties into this topic. And the term is called cognitive dissonance. And cognitive dissonance is this psychological state of discomfort that occurs when your beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors conflict with each other. They don't quite match. So what you're thinking is essentially the opposite to the way that you're acting, the decisions that you are making. And an example of that being you walking away from a situation that was bad for you, you trying to move on, cut them off from your life, but then inside thinking, but I love them and I miss them and I still care about them and I wonder if they are thinking of me. The two things just don't go together. They are complete opposites, and that's what's causing all of this inner discomfort and fear and confusion. And again, the thing is that that's normal, because at the end of the day, you invested time and energy and emotions into this person. So when you walk away, it can feel like you're throwing away your own time and your experience and everything you invested. So then there's this cognitive dissonance of thank God I left because that was so bad for me, along with the thought of, oh, but I wasted so much time, or I feel like I lost them, or did I even fight hard enough for them? I put so much of myself in there. I spent years of my life with that person. And that links me to my next point, which is, maybe this whole thing of missing them and grieving them isn't actually about them. Maybe the whole time it's been about you. If this does relate to you, it's pretty effing great, because it means all of the power and all of the control on how you're going to get through this is in your hands. So much of the time, our true feelings are masked by this other person. We tie all of this pain and confusion and hurt and grieving to the person because we think that that's what it's about. Whole time, that's just the cover up. Underneath that iceberg is so many feelings and beliefs about ourselves, because our identity was tied in that job, in that environment, in that friend, in that relationship, because having that thing in our life fix something for us. Maybe it filled a hole. Maybe it taught you something new about yourself. And then having to walk away from it isn't about the fact that this person is 100% perfect, the best thing that's ever happened to you, and is not replaceable, because that is so not true. That is quite impossible for any human being to be. Maybe it's about the fact that now you are walking away from the person that you got to be in that environment or in that relationship. Maybe it's walking away from the beliefs that they helped you develop about yourself. Maybe it's walking away from the positive feelings you had while you were there and feeling like you have to abandon them, while of course you are about to progress into another phase of your life by leaving that one behind. When we walk away from things that we were so comfortable with for such a long period of our lives, it starts to become part of our identity, and then you have to start questioning who you are without it, and that's really effing hard. So that missing of I want that back, I want that person back, maybe I should get that job back, I want to go back to that period of my life. It's not about everything around you being better than you and being on this pedestal and being the thing that's going to fix you and make your life better. It's about you going back to the source, going back to what you actually need. It's the process of having to lose that self-perception and self-concept that that environment or person gave you. It's the potential of what that person could have been, or having that relationship would have made your life look like. You have to give away all of those ideals of what it could have been. And I actually have a really good solution for this, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later on in the video, because I have been there. I have been there. Before we move on to all of the solutions that I've learned in my process of dealing with these difficult emotions, I want to talk about the last, I think, cause of why we have to feel like this, which is the fact that, as I kind of hinted at previously, our brain is just not on our side in so many ways. I mean, it is in so many ways. It protects us, it keeps us safe. We love that, but it can make things harder for us a lot of the time. And I think realizing that and understanding how your brain works can give you so much comfort and make things a little bit easier, because then you stop taking everything so personally and you stop gaining all of this ammunition to attack yourself for all of the bad decisions you're making. Whole time, it's not really all your fault. I learned that everybody's brain has this habit to constantly look for evidence that supports its subconscious beliefs. Our brain likes to be right. So it is always trying to look for evidence, or it's always trying to perceive things in a certain way that proves all of your beliefs to be correct, even if they are super limiting and they hold you back and they destroy your confidence. Your brain still wants to prove them right because those are majority of the beliefs that you hold about yourself. So for example, my worst breakup that I ever went through, it was a really long relationship. And factually, I knew I have just broken up with this person because they are so bad for me. They love bombed me. They manipulated me. They constantly hurt me. They always argued with me. They emotionally abused me. And that's why I'm walking away, because this is a bad person. This is a textbook narcissist. I should not be with a person like that, right? That's what I factually know. But at the end of the day, majority of the time when we are walking away from jobs that don't serve us or people that don't serve us, we walk away because it's something that happened right at the end, right? You walk away as soon as something bad has happened. But behind that ending is months or weeks or years of positive things that happened that might also be intertwined with bad things, but we have all of this positive history and all of these memories and just this long experience that has been stored in our subconscious a hell of a lot longer. So your brain is going to be more used to thinking in that way. So although factually I know I can't be with this person, they're so bad for me, but in my subconscious, but I love this person. This is the first person that's ever truly seen me for me. We went on all these magical dates. I traveled with them for the first time. We do this together, and you hold all of these beliefs about who you are and how they feel about you because that's why you stayed for so long, right? So now it's going to take time for your brain and your subconscious beliefs to catch up to what you've just found out and the brave decision you just made to be able to walk away. And that brings us on to the most important part of the video, which is learning how to get to the other side, learning how to deal with these difficult emotions and really get yourself through it so that you can just start feeling as your best self again, which is our number one priority on this side of the internet. My number one solution, this was always the basis, the foundation for me when it comes to healing and getting over things, is understanding why. Once you understand why, basically what that means to me is not taking it personally. These people did not come into your life to hurt you. You are not stupid for choosing these people. Life is not this huge, bad, unfair thing that's just out to get you. No. You were given the people you needed rather than the people you wanted, because the lessons you had to learn were more a priority so that you could gain all of the wisdom that you needed and the new mindset you needed to be able to level up into the version of yourself you were always meant to be, because that version of yourself was always inevitably going to get you to the lifestyle that you have always dreamed of having. And the obstacles and the challenges and the pain, the heartbreak, the hurt, the bad people have to come in to force us out of this little comfortable shell and deal with all of the parts of ourselves that we can't even fully access. I am a huge believer that a lot of the time other people hold the keys to certain parts of ourselves that we are not going to be able to witness or understand or even see until they come and cause some sort of conflict or situation or thought about ourselves that starts helping us unlock all of these other parts of ourselves, right? And this is so freeing because it shows you it was never personal. This happens to literally every single person, but just in a slightly different way. And I think that for me is what really helps you let go of the, oh my God, I miss it, even though it was so bad for me and I just can't get over it, even though I know I'm supposed to, because it's like the missing was always supposed to be there. That's an inevitable, normal part of the process. It's not a sign that you're supposed to go back to what's bad for you. It's a sign that you are taking the course of the most resistance, which as we know is always going to lead to the most growth and the most evolution. You're finally shedding what feels comfortable and safe and familiar to you, which inevitably is going to keep you on the path of being the exact same person your whole entire life, to instead stepping away from that and finding out who you could be instead. In the first part of the video, I did speak a lot about the brains and how it's wired and your subconscious mind and how a lot of the time it can make things harder for you. So it's really important that we can find out how we can work with our mind to try and start making it work in our favor a little bit more. So we know that our brain always wants to be right. It always wants to gather the evidence to prove our subconscious beliefs correct. So the obvious solution is to change what our subconscious beliefs are. And the easiest way to do this is through repetition. The things that you have repeatedly seen, experienced, thought, or believed start becoming ingrained in your subconscious view of the world, of yourself, all of your beliefs. You need to be able to keep repeating the new programming you want to take place in your brain for it to actually take effect. And one of my favorite things and ways of doing this when it came to cutting off people was to keep a list. I spoke about this in my ultimate guide to handling breakups. I highly recommend you watch that. There are so many different gems in there that relate to the topic of this video. Keeping a list, because let me tell you, it does not matter how much somebody has hurt you, nostalgia is always going to take over. It's like I said before, you have this huge bad thing that's happened at the end and the years of memories beforehand that you are still attached to. They're going to come and they are going to dilute the bad experience, no matter how bad it was. And you're going to start focusing on that because that went on for longer and that is more ingrained in your brain. When that nostalgia takes over, what you're going to do is you're going to whip out this list and you are going to have written every new belief you want to have about that person, that situation, or belief about your new life even. And when you read that, as the nostalgia is coming back to try and sabotage you, that's when the new programming can start taking effect. Affirmations here really help too, because that's a form of repeating to yourself new beliefs, which I will be covering at the end. This now links me to my next point, which is all about focus on your new life and get rid of the old. We all know my favorite thing in the whole wide world is visualization. I start my day every single day doing that. I'm actually currently vlogging right now, and I vlogged my morning routine where I meditate and visualize. You guys can check out my vlog channel here. But if you just spend a few moments every single morning visualizing the life that you want to be, the people that you want to have in it, what you want your work to be like, all of that, and you start putting yourself in that timeline, in that vision, you are going to get the ick over everything that you were trying to leave, because you are going to be so focused and so aligned to where you want to be going that the thought of taking any steps backward that clearly are so different to this new, better reality that you're so immersed in, that they're so disconnected. Why would you go back? Not to mention, visualization also goes back to helping us rewire our brain to work in the way that we want, because the brain actually can't tell the difference between a real and imagined experience. So you go, you be Delulu, you imagine everything you want to imagine, because in the long run, it's going to help your brain catch up to where you want to be and stop going back to things you so clearly do not want. This actually goes back to the list example as well. When I used to write my list that reminded me of all the reasons why I don't want this specific person in my life, at the bottom of it, I would always write what I wanted in the new version of it. I'm leaving this person, my ex, because they did all these things to me. Underneath, in the process of leaving them, I am making space for this partner that I want, that's gonna have all of these traits and all of these good parts. I'm gonna have all of these good memories that I so clearly miss, but without any of the bad. That way, you are giving yourself the ick and finally letting go of what you miss and giving yourself hope for what's gonna come to replace it. My next tip is my absolute favorite. It's not always about the person, okay? They are not this perfect person that's gonna give you everything you ever need, okay? There are 8 billion people on this planet, please, let's get real for a second. Okay, let's get real. And this is my favorite piece of advice, because I lost a friendship a while ago that really, really, really hurt me. I just thought I wanted this person back more than anything. This was years ago now, and it stuck with me for years. And I thought, oh, I just want a friend like them again, and I miss them so much. Do you know what finally got me over it? By just questioning it. Thinking, wait, but what is it that I actually miss? Because I don't think it's the person anymore. I don't think this is this perfect person that's supposed to be in my life no matter what, and I can't find anybody like that with similar traits that I like. Like, that's not it. And I started to realize, oh, it's not the person, it's the joy that I experienced in the friendship. It's the conversations that left me feeling so inspired and educated and happy when I left them. It was the connection, it was the alignment of our values and the way in which we lived our lives, which made me feel so understood and so connected. It was that feeling of knowing that you have a friend that just gets you, which to me has always been a very difficult process. Realizing that, I don't miss this person. Why would I want to go back to you after what you did? You know, at the end of our friendship, that's so bad for me. It was always about what the thing was doing for me. That's what you miss. It's always about you. And that's what made me realize, okay, it's time to go out. It's time to meet people and talk to people and learn about people. And now that experience has taught me so much about my values in friendship and what I want to look for. My last tip is emotional healing. Now, part of this can be therapy, as we discussed, BetterHelp in the beginning. Such a great platform. I personally tried real in-person therapy. It didn't quite stick for me, but BetterHelp was great because you literally get matched to a therapist that's perfect for you. But I do understand that therapy isn't necessarily accessible to everybody. So I wanted to share this emotional healing technique. It's called EFT, which stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. I'm pretty sure it stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. I'm super new to it and still learning it. Shout out to my therapist on BetterHelp that put me on. She taught me that I actually needed more movement physical therapy rather than talking therapy, because that helps you move the trauma kind of out of your body and process it, because trauma can be stored in the body, and that's what keeps us stuck in these cycles and situations we don't want to be in. So I love literally just been using YouTube videos, even TikToks, to teach myself how to EFT tap, and I do it every single morning after my meditation. And when you do this, again, you are helping to reprogram your subconscious mind by acknowledging what you are hurting with and instead replacing it with a new belief you want to have. So there are all these points that you tap on. I have makeup on right now, so I'm not going to do it properly. Just Google it, you'll know where to tap. And while you are tapping, you are going to acknowledge what you're struggling with. For example, I release all doubt I have in my career, and then say what you want, which is, I release all doubt I have in my career, and I know all of the abundance I want is on its way to me. Something like that, but obviously something that's very personal to your situation. And I think that's a super easy thing you can do every single day, first thing in the morning. Do it while you're in bed. Like, just wake up, sit up in your bed, do it. Super easy, takes a few minutes. To know that you are taking these few minutes to take control of your emotions, to take control of rewiring your mind to be able to be your best self and think in a way that actually serves you. Look at you being so self-loving, serving your way in every single way that you would ever need. So easy, so simple. Doesn't even take a lot of time. Okay, we are on the very last section of the video now, which is affirmations to help you on this journey. I thought this is the best way to end the video. Once you go away from this video, I hope you feel reassured. I hope you feel better about yourself. I hope you feel validated, and I hope you feel so empowered, confident, and uplifted knowing you can get through this. It's such a normal thing to go through in life. We've all gone through it. I've gone through it more times than I can count. You got this. It's natural to miss the parts of my life that got me here, while I am in the process of learning how to build a new one. The discomfort I feel in the decisions I have made is a sign of the self-growth that I am embracing. I realize what no longer serves me, and I welcome everything I deserve. I am so proud of myself for choosing the path of healing and self-respect. And that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you like those affirmations, then definitely check out my newsletter, because in every fortnightly newsletter, there is a lovely affirmation right at the top, along with so many links to tools and resources I use on that week's lesson of the week. So definitely check it out, along with my book, along with my podcast, my other YouTube channels. I also just released a self-growth journal if you'd like to check it out. And I'm going to check out Janky Matcha too, because the discount link is in the description. I love you guys. I'm proud of you guys. I hope you enjoyed yet another episode of Matcha Talks with Tam. I love this series. Let me know what you thought down below in the comments. I do read all the comments. And when you guys write in suggestions, I do write them all in a note on my phone. So I love hearing your suggestions. I love hearing your ideas. I love hearing how I can help you guys in your journeys and just understand you a little bit more. But that does bring us to the end. I appreciate you so much. I hope you have the best, most fulfilling, abundant, happy week of your life. And I will see you same time next week, Friday, for a brand new video. Bye.